Hello everyone. Today we are going to look at numerical concept. What is numerical concept? Numerical concept is the study of the properties that exist between numbers. We are going to look at what are those properties that are existing between numbers and why are we studying it? Studying numerical concept is going to equip us with knowledge on how we can solve and manipulate mathematical problems and numbers respectively. By the end of this topic, having understood very well the numerical concepts, you'll be able to work out any mathematical problem very easily and in a good or in a very understandable way. So that's what we are going to be looking at. But basically, we are going to look at what we call indices and logarithms. By the way, what do you expect at the end of the topic? At the end of this topic, you must be able to approximate answers. You must be able to know the rules governing significant figures, how to express numbers in standard form, how to work out laws of indices, and also how we apply the laws of logarithms. So what are you supposed to be knowing at the end of the topic? So at the end of the topic, you must be able to know how do we round off. You must be able to know how do we give a decimal places. You must be able to know significant figures. You must be able to know indices. And then lastly, you must be able to know logarithm. So these are the 5 most important things that you must be able to know at the end of this topic. Okay, let's look at our first topic. The first thing we are going to look at is what we call approximation. What is approximation? Approximation is the rounding of a given number to another number close to it. So approximation involves rounding off a number to a number that is very close to it. So here we look at the accurate number and then we round it either down or upwards, but our answer must be very close to it. So why are we doing so? Always we want to have a precise answer. Always we want any number that is rounded off is at times very easy to deal with. It is at times very easy to carry out calculations with numbers that are rounded off. Take an example. In case I ask, do you remember the number of students, the total number of students you had in primary, the whole school? Probably you might not be remembered, but you might be recalling that maybe in our primary school we were about 1,200 students. But actually, this is not the accurate answer. You might have found out that maybe in your primary you were about 1,221. But now you say just telling us that you are about 1,200. This one is what you call an approximate answer. It is not the accurate answer, but is very close to the answer. Now, also we can ask ourselves, in case we go to watch soccer, at times we are very many in the pitch, and then in case I ask, how many were you? Then you can just tell me that we are about 5,000 people. But actually, this might not have been the right number. You might have found out that we are about 5,429. That means that you have rounded off. You have rounded off a number from the accurate one, and you have given a number that is very close to it. So that's what we are going to be looking at. We are going to look at how do we approximate, how do we round off numbers such that we get a precise answer, but is very close to the right answer. So we are going to look at rounding off. Rounding off has 2 rules that govern it. The first rule number 1, that in case we have digits from 0 up to 4. Any number we have from 0 up to 4, mention them. We have 0, we have 1, we have 2, we have 3, and then lastly we have 4. So any number in here, 0 to 4, we round them downwards. In other words, the interest or the digit of interest, we don't add anything. We leave it the way it is. Now, in case our digit is from 5 to 9, that is 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Such digits, we are going to be rounding upwards. By upwards means increasing those digits by 1. So what is rounding upwards and rounding downwards? What does it mean? In case I can take an example. In case this is where my number is, take an example. This is my number 5, 2, 4, 3. In case I'm rounding upwards, I can have a number that is above this one. Take an example. You can have a number, say 6,000, and below it you can have a number such as 5,000. So by rounding upwards means that I'm going to increase that number. So now, in case this is my number, when I go upwards this side and I mention 6,000, this is what you call rounding up. In other words, we have increased that accurate value to a number above. In case I move downwards and I mention it as 5,000, and this is my accurate one, then that means I have rounded downward. So rounding downwards means reducing on the number, but when it is a precise one. And rounding up one means increasing on a number, but in a precise form. So when you increase upwards, we shall increase by 1. And when we move downwards or round downwards, we decrease the number by 0. But before you round off, do we recall place values? Because numbers that are going to be given, we need always to know their place value. Because here we are going to be specific to a given place value of interest. Probably you might be recalling, but let us remind ourselves. How do we round? How do we give place value? In case this is my number, 123.45. Can we give the place value? Yes. Do you remember? This one, I think this one is 1. Yes. Then we have the second one. This is 10s. Then the last one is 100. Probably also we can go the other side. Remind yourself, do you remember this one? Yes, this one is 10. Then we have 100. Then the rest can follow in that format. So always you have to first identify the place value for each digit, because here they are going to specify for you. They are going to give you the number and they ask you what is using the place value of that one. So you need to recall that always we shall go in this increasing order, and also we shall go in this decreasing order. Now, before we look at an example, do you know that COVID is real? COVID-19 is real. So please stay home and sanitize. Take foods that are rich in vitamins. Take an example of pineapples, avocados, and always keep yourself safe. Keep yourself safe. Your health is your wealth. So let's look at an example. Round to the nearest 10. Now, what are we going to do? We are going to first identify our target digit. So our target digit is the digit that is in the position of 10. So when you look at our digit, we have 52. So you ask yourself, which digit is that is in the position? So you give the place value that this is 1 and this is 10. That means that your target value or target digit is the 5. So our target digit is 5. So that means is the number. Then the next question you ask yourself, what is the number to the right of it? That the number to the right of it is 2. What did we say? We said numbers from 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. We round it downward. So we round downward. So what are we going to do? We are going to round that number downward. So I have 5, and then that is my target number, then 2. So that means we are going to round downward. So I will come here and I round downward. So rounding downward, I'm going to only add a 0 like that. Then I say this number that we allow for it, it just remains as 0. It keeps its place value. It does not change. It becomes 0. Then when we add 5 plus 0, we get 5. That means that when we round 52 to the nearest 10, we shall have our answer as 50. Let's look at another number. We have 5, 6, 3, 5, and 6. Can you first identify your target digit? What is your target digit? Identify that digit that is in the position of the 10 place value. What is it? Has everyone noticed it? This is 0, this is 10. It is 5. Okay. Now, after identifying your value, your target value, I'm going to come and I say this is 5, 6, 3. Then my target value is what? Is 5. Then I come back and I write 6. Then I look at the digit that is on the right. You ask which digit is on the right. That this is the digit on the right. Then I ask myself, numbers from 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, we round up. So that means we add a 1. So I'll come here and I add a 1. So then I add my. So here, this one maintains its place value as 0. 5 plus 1 is 6. 3, 6, and 5. Hope you are seeing how easy it is. Good. Let's look at more examples. So we have another example. So always we identify the target digit. So what is the target digit? So the target digit is the one in the 10th position. So when I come, I have 0.79. Which digit is in the 10th position? That this is the 10th. So that means that this is my target digit. So our target digit is 7. So I look at the number that is on the right. So the number that is on the right is 9. So what did we say? Numbers 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, we increase by 1. So I'm going to come back and I write my digit as 0.79. Then I'm going to increase this digit by 1. So now I'm going to come and I add. So here it maintains its position 0. 7 plus 1 is 8. Then I have the point, then 0. But in case you want, you can ignore this one and just write it as 0.8. But this one, ignoring the 0, it is only when you have a decimal point. Without a decimal point, please leave your 0 there because it occupies the position or the place value. We can come here as well. We have 42.5342. You ask yourself, what is your target digit? Our target digit that is in the position is, this is our target digit, which is in the 10th position. So our target digit is 5. So that means I'm going to come and I write 42.5342. This is my target value. I ask myself the digits that are to the right of it. So the next digit is 3. So now I know that numbers from 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, I don't increase and I round downwards. So I'll come here and I add a 0. So I add plus. I have here 5. So the rest of these ones, they become 0, 0, 0. 0.24. So in case you want, you can ignore the zeros that are coming after decimal point and say 42.5. So now here we have rounded to the nearest 10. Okay, let's look at more examples. Rounding to the nearest 100. So I'm going to come and I identify what is my target digit. So my target digit is that digit that is in the 100 position. So I first give the place value. I know that this is 0, or this is 1, this is 10, and this is 100. Oh, my target digit is 5. So I come, I ask myself, what digit is right to it? My digit is 2. So what did we say? 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. These ones we don't increase. We round downward. In other words, you add a 0. So now, being that we are going to add a 0, and our digit that is right to the 5 is 2, we shall just say 5, 2, 8. So we shall come here and just add a 0. So adding a 0 means that here, this one, any digit that is coming afterwards, we just add there, we just make them 0, 0, 0, and 5. So that means that our 528 to the nearest 100 is 500. What about the next one? The next one also I ask, what is my target digit? Our target digit is, I first give the place value 0, 10, 100. So my target digit is 6. That is the target digit. So I come, I say 5, 6, 3, and 8. So I'm going to ask, which digit is on the right of 6 is 3. Where does it lie? Rounding downward. So I will come here and I also add a 0. So being adding a 0, this one becomes a 0, 0, 6, and 5. So that is how we do a rounding. But I think these examples are not yet enough for you. Let me add you more. Let's look at rounding to the nearest 100. So we have 12.567. What is our target value in the 100th position? So you know that this is 10. This one is 100. So that means that in your 10th position, the target digit is 6. So this is our target digit. So now what am I going to do? I'm going to round it. So when I look at the digit to the right of 6, the digit is 7. What did we say? That 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, we increase it by 1. So I'm going to come now and I increase by 1. I come here and I increase by 1. I add. So when I add, I'll get here. This one becomes 0, 7, 5.21. And now this one is my answer to the nearest 100. No. Now, why don't I leave this one for you? Can you please try out this one and come up with your answer? Try out this one and we come up with our answer. Can we check yourself? Check yourself. Find out what is our answer here. Okay. Now, lastly, we have our exercise. We are going to try out now these numbers to find out whether we have understood. So when you find 10, it means that to the nearest 10. When you find 100, to the nearest 100. When you find 1,000, this is to the nearest 1,000. So try out, we are going to try out the numbers and check yourself whether you have really understood the topic of learning of numbers. So thank you so much for attending. See you again for another topic.